Well, folks, how the heck are you? We are here at the end of the 2020 season after a little break, let all the dust settle after the crazy ATP finals, and I'm here as Professor Steven to give you the report card for Djokovic, Nadal, Team, and a few of the other next-gen guys for the 2020 season. We're going to wrap it all up, talk about the highs, the lows for each guy, and give a grade based on what their hopes and kind of goals would have been at the beginning of the 2020 season and how I feel that they matched up. So in this first episode, we are going to get into Novak Djokovic's season. Crazy highs, crazy lows, maybe even crazy lows. You guys know what happened. We all saw it together. Let's break it down in this episode of The Slice.
That's so I don't have many bagels.
Welcome to The Slice.
Welcome to The Slice.
Welcome to The Slice.
Well, thanks for being here, folks. It's the end of the year. We got the Christmas season decorations going on here. Reminder, if you're going to do Christmas shopping and you want to support the old local tennis show, The Slice, do your shopping at Wilmo Sport. Get your best tennis gear possible. It makes a great gift. Courtside Sports, 10% off brand new tennis gear. Amazing stocking stuffers. And Bear Mountain, if you're in Canada and you're allowed to travel, you can still get to Bear Mountain. Check out their facilities and the video we just made. Link up here. So we're going to get into Novak Djokovic on this episode here. And coming into this season, he had won, if I'm not mistaken, 4 out of the last 6 majors. So he was clearly the number one player in the world. And he'd been enjoying just one of the most, all 3 of these guys have made, the big 3, have made unbelievable comebacks in the last kind of 3 years since the Slices started and been covering them. So I've had the privilege to be able to watch it happen. And Novak Djokovic is as good as any. It's unbelievable. There was a time like 2017-18 where Djokovic looked like his career as a dominant player was over. Now he's back to being the most dominant, best player in the world. And he's still that way. So coming into this season, his explicit goal was to track down Federer and Nadal's records and try and break them. He wants to be the GOAT. He wants everyone to know him as the GOAT. He's basically said that. His dad's definitely said that, and he's said a lot of crazy things as well that are totally out of Cuckooville. But this is not about Djokovic's dad. This is about Djokovic's 2020 season. So what was it? I think his goals for this year would have been 2 slams, 1 at minimum, and to end the year as number 1 and to get as many weeks as at number 1 as possible. So what happened? He went 41-5 on the year, 4 titles. Now, obviously, that needs a lot of breaking down. So let's just quickly go through it because we all watched it. So he had an amazing start to the year, obviously. He came in to the first ever ATP Cup, laid the smackdown on Nadal in the final. He really set the stage for the year he was about to have, at least at the start. And then he went to the Australian Open, played through, beat our guy Milos Raonic, who we later talked to in Delray Beach about that matchup, beat Federer in the semifinals, injured Federer. And then in the finals came out and played a very hot Dominic Thiem who was really looking for his first Grand Slam win. So obviously Djokovic at that point had won 7 slams, the best ever to do it on the Australian Open hard courts. This was his throne, but he came out, won the first set, but then he didn't really look his best. And he went down 2-1 against Thiem. Had his little shake mix-up drinks come out to him. He was feeling down. He somehow found a way, like he always does, or usually does in slams, to get his level back and to wear down Thiem, and was just a better man in the biggest moments of those matches, in that match. So he came out, wins his 8th Australian Open, 17th slam, and then he goes on and wins in Dubai, and he's like, this guy is unstoppable. I forget what his win streak was at this point, but I think it was something like 23 wins in a row. Definitely correct me if I'm wrong. At this point in the season. Then COVID hits, obviously. Tour shutdown, craziness. We don't know what's happening. Djokovic has the great idea, along with some other people, to start a little mini exhibition tour when it was safe to do so in the Adriatic region, which is like Serbia, all that area. He started the Adria Tour, which was awesome. It was a great idea. There was going to be 4 stops. So he flew in a lot of the other stars like Dimitrov, Zverev, Thiem. They all got there, and it was kind of funny because we were all doing, most people around the world were doing social distancing, whatever, mask wearing, and then these guys just weren't doing it at all. And then there was kind of like a lot of just like no physical distancing, which I understand because I don't love that either. And in Serbia there was not many cases of COVID, but basically everyone ended up getting COVID. All the athletes, they're fine, but it broke down and they didn't get to end up the tour. And I think that actually played taxed Djokovic a bit because he got a lot of criticism from it. Not from the slice. I just said it was like dumb for him to blatantly disregard the social distancing rules. You're allowed to take your own health into your own concerns, whatever. But I thought it was dumb as a PR standpoint from him. I love the Adria Tour. I love just getting out there and getting it done. But I think he took it a little bit hard. So anyways, his ego is a little bit hurt from that. Maybe, I don't know if it wasn't, or if it was or it wasn't. Anyways, he shows up to the U.S. Open, or the Cincinnati U.S. Open doubleheader in New York, as they had it, as we all know. He wins Cincinnati, looking very good. Didn't have the hardest competition, but he won, looking good, and then obviously solidifying himself as the favorite going into the U.S. Open. U.S. Open comes through. He's looking good. Everything's looking crisp, clean. He's going through the tournament. And then I wasn't even watching this match versus Pablo Carreño Busta. I was literally playing golf at Bear Mountain, and my phone starts to blow up. And Djokovic has hit the umpire in the throat. We all know what happened. We all seen the videos. And she goes down like a sack of potatoes. Super unlucky for Djokovic. If it could have hit her on the side, the chin, whatever, she wouldn't have been that hurt. But she literally was out for the count, basically. And he was out of the tournament, just like that. I think by far the biggest story I've ever covered. Craziest circumstances. All of a sudden, Novak Djokovic, who's going for career slam number 18, pulling within one of Nadal at that point, to a Federer, out. And it was just crazy. So Dominic Thiem goes on to win that slam, which we'll get to. But Djokovic limps out of New York, and it's just relentless criticizing. To be honest, it was just brutal. He got savage, which he should have. Djokovic had his fans who are apparently, always the victims, the fans, the Djokovic fans, the hardcore. They're all threatening the umpire, disgusting acts. It's just craziness. I don't know what's going on. So Djokovic leaves the U.S. Open, tail between his legs, obviously missing out on a big opportunity there for another slam. Then he shows up in Rome, wins the Rome Masters 1000, looks good on clay. So you're like, this guy's still the best player in the world, playing good on all surfaces. Now he's got a great chance to maybe win the French Open, especially with the slower surface or conditions that were showing at the French Open. And he makes his way through the draw very easily, gets to the semifinals, and then an interesting match against Stefanos Tsitsipas. He goes up 2-0, and then he lets Tsitsipas back in the match. Tsitsipas plays a lot better, obviously, but it just seemed like Djokovic couldn't put him away. And then Tsitsipas even had like a bit of a leg injury in the fifth set, and that allowed Djokovic to really take over the match and pull it out. But it wasn't a dominant performance by any chance, but he still looked good coming into the final versus Nadal, when I thought Nadal had not played very great competition on the way to the final, and he might have been vulnerable. So Djokovic and Nadal get there. Nadal comes out. He's just plays perfect tennis, Djokovic, reactionary tennis, and Nadal never gave him a chance to get in the match. 6-0, 6-2 were the first two sets, and then Djokovic broke back to take it to a tiebreaker, and Nadal wins. It's just one of the most dominant performances we've seen from Nadal or from any tennis player in the Grand Slam final ever. Djokovic absolutely destroyed, confused leaving the court, just didn't have an explanation for it. And honestly, I think all of the wind went out of his sails for 2020 at this point. He showed up to the Vienna tournament, the Erste Bank 500, which they gave us a media pass. I talked to him on Zoom a couple times after he lost to Sonego, where he really didn't put up his best effort at all. He said he was basically just happy to get the year in number one and then coast through the rest of the season, showing up at the ATP finals. Again, didn't have a great result. He lost to Medvedev in a very close match. He played pretty good, actually. Medvedev just was better man on the day. And then the same thing, actually, like a carbon copy repeat of 2019, Thiem beat him after him being up 4-0 in the tiebreaker. The king of tiebreakers, the clutch player of all time. We see him not have that clutch factor a couple times there at the end of the season. Again, that's in 2-3 set matches. It's not the Grand Slams, but still, it was a big deal. And I'm interested to see where his mentality will be at coming into 2021. So that's the whole year basically in a nutshell for Djokovic. Very good start to this season. A lot of potential to get more milestones in. He got a lot of milestones. It looks like he's definitely going to get the record for the most weeks at number one ever in March. So he made some serious progress on that. Another year at number one. He got one slam in Australia, which is obviously great for him, but he definitely would consider the US Open and then even maybe the French Open a missed opportunity. So I'm giving Novak Djokovic a B+ mark on his report card from Professor Slice. And I just think that he wouldn't. There's no way that he'd be looking at that and be like, yeah, that year went exactly how I wanted to go, because that would be like an A to me, or an A plus if it went like perfectly. So I couldn't give it an A or an A minus. B plus, solid year. For any other player in the world, that'd be like the greatest year ever. But for Djokovic and a player of his caliber and where he's at in history, I think he would have wanted another crack. Definitely at the U.S. Open and even at the French Open final. I'm sure he would love to play that match again with Nadal. So that's my grade for him. What's your grade? Go down below, check it out, and check out the other videos and report cards we got here for other players. Make sure you subscribe, like, check out our sponsors. Thank you guys for being here and supporting The Slice. It means a lot.